Yeah, if you play out in the bars and where the tables are not maintained properly and are always dirty and the balls are cruddy and all that stuff, and you see this all the time. Lately, this table here that I'm playing on has not been cleaned by anyone. It's dirty and the balls are skidding and sliding, and yeah, it's like playing pool on a beach. And yeah, I'm to blame. I chalk before every shot pretty much. And I've made them dirty and I need to clean them, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. I will get to it. But that's why I'm putting left-hand English on this cue ball. Otherwise, you're going to get this. And what I want is this to have the proper angle on the two to get the right shape on the three and the stay down table for that four ball. I didn't get really perfect. I wanted to go a little bit further down table on that shot and get a better angle on the two ball to get pretty much straight in on the side pocket for the three ball shot, so I could be right there on the four and get back on the five. So this comes up in the subject that I talk about in a podcast at the end of this video. If you want to hear, hang out and take a listen. And if you don't want to hear it, just move along YouTube. So I'm attempting to compensate for not the greatest position on the two by using left-hand English on this shot to shoot the two ball in the side and spin hard off that rail in an effort to get back in line and in shape for the three ball. But what you'll see is I did not get good shape on the three, and I have to get a little bit creative. Here's the line on the four, and you should be asking yourself where relative to that line you want to be on that four to get back on this five and in the right shape on the five to easily get back on that six ball. Here's the line coming off the three ball when we shoot the three ball. And that's just a natural line with no English on the ball, just center ball. So relative to that line, if we keep going, if we put no English on the ball, where is that going to go? And here's where it's going to go, and that will be dreadful. So you should be saying to yourself, you know where you want to be on the four. How am I going to get to that place on that four? And this is what I have to work with right now. So what do I need to put on this cue ball to get back on the four? Here's what left-hand English will do to the cue ball. Here's what right-hand English will do to the cue ball. Now I've decided I want to be below that four ball line. I know a lot of guys would come up high here, and that's fine, you can come up high. But I just like the concept of going low, bouncing off that right hand rail and coming up pretty much anywhere I want on that 4 or that 5 ball to make it easy to get back on the 6. So that's my game. That might not be your game, but that's what I decided to do. So the only logical thing to do here is put right hand English on that ball to kill that natural angle coming off that rail and to send it back down the table for that 4. The right hand English is to grab that side rail and send it back up table without much effort at all. You shouldn't have to stroke this ball too much. Just put a little bit of right and it should grab that rail and send it in the right direction. The hair of bottom is just used to open up that angle, to widen the angle from the 4 to that side rail so we can get around this 8 without worrying about it. We can get perfect position on the 5 ball to get back on this 6 ball. With no English at all, just center ball, this cue ball is going right back up into the 7 ball, which is liable to just bump straight up in your way and leave you with no shot on the 6. So we have to put either right hand English on it and go to that left hand rail, or we can put left hand English on this and come up on the right hand side of the 7 towards center table, which wouldn't be a bad idea, but you're going to be running close to the 7 and it's just a little too close for comfort, so I'm choosing top right on this to bounce off that left hand rail and give me a pretty decent shot on the 6 to get back on the 7. Here's one that you're not going to be able to see, but I'm straight in on the 6 and I'm just drawing straight back on the 7 in an effort to get a good shot and a decent angle to get from the 7 back on the 8. This is a very dangerous shot because it's not hard to come up too short or too long here, and it takes a really consistent stroke. Which is a topic that I talk about again in this podcast at the end of this video. Alright, now you're going to see me walk around behind the 8 and find the line on the 8 ball, which is just the line going through the pocket that you want to shoot the 8 ball, straight through the 8 ball, and all the way back to the nearest intersecting rail. Now, from where the cue ball is relative to this line, where's the natural angle if we just shoot dead center ball into the 7 to make it in the top left-hand corner there? Where's the cue ball going and in what direction, and what's going to happen if I shoot it hard? What's going to happen if I shoot it soft? How exactly should I shoot this 7 ball in order to get on that line, which is I want to get on that line, that black line straight into the 8 ball, because then I can just stop it right there. Or if I'm feeling a little bit cocky, I'll roll up a couple inches and get straight in on the 9 ball. It all comes down to how I feel on that 8 ball shot, but I do want to get on that line. So center ball is not going to do it. What will left hand English do? Let's take a look at that. The reason left is a bad option is because you're coming up very close to that 8 ball. And if you don't get exactly on this line and you go just a little bit too long or a little bit too short, you're going to have a really, really bad shot on this 8 ball. And it's going to be really hard to get on that 9 ball. You just have no margin of error if you choose that route. So let's take a look at right-hand English. This is actually a pretty good option. I would definitely recommend choosing this. You're killing the angle off the top rail. And in order to get on the line, you're going to have to shoot this softly, and you're going to have to settle for a pretty long shot on the 8 ball. But it's better than the other options, I can tell you that. I choose to denounce all three and do it John's way, and John's way screws it all up. I decide to draw this ball in onto that line because I have a lot of control over the draw shot, and that's my favorite shot. My stroke was just cocky. It was too cocky. It was too hard. It was too unpredictable, and it just I screwed it all up, as you'll see here in a second. Well, that was embarrassing, and the whole thing reminds me of my old days when I just didn't have a whole lot of control over my stroke. It was very inconsistent, and I really wasn't that concerned about it because I developed an ability to be a shot maker. And as you can see, here we are on the 8, and I'm forced to stay in the good old days, which weren't always good, and come with a really difficult shot. There's no playing safe. Well, you could try to play safe here, but safety's not my best game, and I have to go for this shot and get back on the 9 ball. So I just got to call on myself and my talent to do it. And I shouldn't be putting myself in this position after all these years of playing pool. But here I am, and we're putting bottom left on this, and coming off that left-hand side route and bouncing out for a shot on the 9 ball. And now, as you can see, I'm stuck on the rail for another hard shot. That's the problem with being a shot maker. You're always in a position where you absolutely have to be a shot maker. The game just never gets easy. It gets more and more difficult. And it works like a train wreck. But I'm going to quit harping on it, and I'm putting straight top on here because I have to. The ball's on the rail. I can't hit any other part of the cue ball. As dead center as you can get here. If you put a little bit of left on it accidentally, left or right, most likely you're going to miss this ball. So it's really, really important to get down on this shot and focus on dead center aim. Top, but dead center. Anyhow, like I said probably 3 or 4 times in this video, we have a podcast at the end, but before we get to that, we're going to run the whole rack from start to finish. No interruptions, and some tunes. And then I'm going to yak your ear off. So get ready for that. Fun and excitement for the whole dang family. Should I show you this? Yeah. There you go. You know what was going to happen. Let's do this. I spent most of my life having a really inconsistent stroke. I mean, most of the time it was straight, and I knew what kind of English to put on it. But I couldn't gain shape because it was all about the speed of the stroke and how hard I was hitting the cue ball, and I really didn't have much of a concept on pinpoint position play. Not that you have to be pinpoint, but I was just shooting just kind of with the effort of getting in the general vicinity of the fouling ball, and I wasn't thinking 4 balls ahead. And then, people say, well, you have to think 3 balls ahead, but that would also get me in trouble. And it wasn't helping. So what happens when you're this guy, and I'm positive many of you are, is that you either learn to be a shot maker or you just lose your mind and quit. You just quit playing. It's just because playing like that is just it's too much stress. And I've been in positions, man, where I've just had to shoot every single shot and just it'd be the best shot in the world. And I learned how to make these shots, and most time I would. And, people watching would be under the assumption that I was a great pool player because I continually made these crazy shots. But what happens is when you do this, you're not gaining position on the next ball, so you get bad on the 2 ball, and you're forced to, and safety play just wasn't in my vocabulary for most of my life. So now you're shooting a crazy shot on the 3 with little regard to where the cue ball is heading or gaining shape on the 3. So now you're bad on the 3 and forced to make another crazy shot on the 3, and then if you make that, you're bad on the 4. And this is the train wreck I would play for years and years and years. It wasn't until probably, I don't know, I quit playing for a long time, so it's hard to tell. But at some point I said, look, man, this is just too stressful. It's just too much. I remember winning a tournament, and just in the middle of the finals, I just had to put my stick down and go in the bathroom and try to chill myself out, because man, people think you're playing good when you're doing this. I had to make a decision that I couldn't keep doing this day in and day out. So, like I was starting to say, at some point I learned that I was going to have to develop a consistent stroke. I was going to have to learn the speed of each table I played on, so I could adjust the speed of my stroke to that table, because doing things this way was really, really making me loony. And this is a common subject in pool. When you watch the greatest players in the world, people say, well, they make it look so easy. And the fact is, they know how to make it easy. It's not that they're magically doing something for the camera. They've just learned how to keep things simple, and they're not doing anything hard. And you just haven't learned this issue yet, this lesson. You haven't learned that you have to work on this. But you will at some point. If you stay with it, you're gonna have to learn to develop a consistent stroke. And trust me, I hate this about pool, but it's not about entertaining the crowd. It's about winning the tournament or the match or whatever you're doing when you're playing. It's way more gratifying than people thinking, wow, he's a great player. The great player is the guy that goes home, or the woman who goes home with the most money. That's the great player, even though they never did anything difficult or amazing.